Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi was one of the most epic series of all time. Honestly, I remember playing it on the early consoles like PS2 and Wii when I was younger, and that game kicked absolute ass. It was a time when Dragon Ball was at the peak of its popularity. Not that it's not popular today, but back then, if you were outside and you grew up, you couldn't go on the playground without encountering somebody and just having to have a ki blast face-off with a Kamehameha just to prove who was tougher on the playground. Tell me about it! I know you did that. So getting this game meant so much to me and also to a bunch of my friends. We used to go over to each other's houses and rip a hole in the palm of our hands just spinning trying to counter each other. So today, we're gonna recount the history of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi was released in Japan as Dragon Ball Z Sparking in 2005 on PlayStation 2, developed by Spike and based on Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball franchise. Published by Bandai in Japan and Atari in North America, the game stood out for its large 3D battles, fully destructible environments, and huge roster featuring 58 playable characters and 90 total forms pulled from the anime and movies. In Japan, the title, Sparking, referenced the famous Dragon Ball Z theme song, Chala Head, while the Japanese version of the game also featured We Gotta Power as its opening theme. The English title, Budokai Tenkaichi, was derived from Tenkaichi Budokai, the legendary martial arts tournament in the series known for bringing fighters together from around the globe to compete for glory, fame, and that sweet, sweet prize money. Despite the name, Budokai Tenkaichi was not actually part of the original Budokai series. It used a completely different engine and was made by Spike instead of Dimps, and in Japan, it was clearly treated as its own separate game rather than Dragon Ball Z 4. The decision to rename it in English was widely believed to be a marketing move by Atari to connect it to the already popular Budokai brand and attract fans who recognized that name. Even so, the game carved out its own identity and became memorable for its fast-paced arena combat and presentation, helping establish it as a distinctive and important branch of the Dragon Ball gaming franchise. Now, when I first started playing this game, I remember going to Blockbuster or Rogers Video and renting this game and playing it at people's birthday parties, having friends come over, getting some popcorn, some pop, and just running the hell out of this game into the ground. It had one of the most funny intro sequences also, because I don't know why these mans were covered in baby oil. What the hell was going on? Did Diddy also develop this game? Just watch it, you'll know what I mean. And it was so cool being able to play as all of my favorite characters. Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo. It was honestly such a banger of a time, and even the story mode was just action-packed. It was simple, it was straightforward, but it brought you the history of those Dragon Ball games, and honestly, it was just such a unique fighter at the time. It allowed you to relive some of your most favorite childhood memories, and just some of your favorite memories in the series altogether, whether you're an adult or a kid. It's a game that you can actually go back to today and appreciate all of your favorite highlights from the first part of the Dragon Ball Z series. But not only that, the game modes in this game were absolutely sick. In the first game, the main single-player experience centers on story-driven battles that recreate major moments from DBZ, while also branching into anime-only material, movie villains, Dragon Ball GT content, and original what-if scenarios. In the first game, this mode is called Z Battle Gate, where players move through battles tied to different sagas and complete specific objectives, such as winning with a certain move or within a time limit. The mode also rewards exploration, since Dragon Balls can be discovered by destroying environments during fights, though they're only kept if the battle's won. On top of retelling the main story, the game adds fresh twists through alternate matchups, bonus encounters, and extra storylines, where unusual combinations of heroes and villains clash outside of the normal canon. Now, I know not all of the Dragon Ball Z movies are loved for one reason or another, but growing up, that was my shit. I remember staying up late and watching that when they would show the movies on TV, and honestly, those were some of my best times. So the fact that I actually got to go into the game itself and play some of these story modes, it was mind-blowing. It was honestly one of the only anime games that I can personally recall where you actually had such a deep character roster, a fleshed out story mode, and you didn't just have to be restricted to playing what was in the show. You could also play the movie sequences and what-if scenarios. I'm not saying the movies are perfect, but sometimes you just want to beat up one of the villains for fun. Beyond the story mode, the game offered several side modes and progression systems that give it more depth than a standard arena fighter. Ultimate Battle challenges the player to survive against 100 opponents while climbing the ranks, with momentum-based scoring and surprise interruptions from secret characters. World Tournament lets players compete in structured tournaments, including the Cell games, where ring outs matter and victory earns Z items instead of money. The Z items then can feed into Evolution Z, a customization system that allows characters to equip abilities, expand item slots, and sometimes even fuse items or characters for stronger results. The game also included character illustrations, a unique gallery that provides profiles and voice actor information for unlocked fighters, which was pretty cool and added an extra layer of fan service and world building to the overall experience. Now, there were over 55 playable characters in the first video game. I'm talking characters like Baby Vegeta, Broly in legendary Super Saiyan form, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Janemba, Gotenks, and way more. Honestly, one of the most favorite parts to me was being able to play all of these different characters, and one of my personal favorites was Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That is like my favorite version, and I'm not talking about the Daima Goku. I am talking about the OG Dragon Ball GT version of Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That was hard. I don't care what any of y'all gotta say. Gotta put some respect on the OG's name. And being able to do all of this in the first Budokai Tenkaichi game was just chef's kiss. It was wonderful. Almost as wonderful as the second game in the franchise, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, known in Japan as Dragon Ball Z Sparking Neo, was the second game in the series and the first to be released on both PlayStation 2 and Wii, helping expand the franchise even more. It first launched on PS2 in Japan on October 5th, 2006, followed by releases in Europe, North America, and Australia in November, while the Wii version arrived around the system's North American launch in November 2006 before releasing in Japan, Europe, and Australia in early 2007. The game significantly expanded on the original by featuring 100 characters across 136 forms and 16 stages, with the Japanese and PAL Wii versions including additional characters and extra content. As a larger and more ambitious follow-up to the first game, it helped establish the series as one of the biggest and most content-packed Dragon Ball fighting franchises of its era. Now, while I loved the first game, I personally was a Wii fanboy growing up. I didn't really have the PS2. I had it at my dad's house, so sometimes I'd be able to play games over there when I would go over. However, most of the time, when it came to the first game and playing that on PS2, I would have to go to someone's house to actually enjoy the game. This one, on the other hand, I got to buy and own for myself. That cover with Future Trunks holding the sword over his face like this, absolutely hard. The fighting in that game went absolutely dumb, and just all the silliness from trying to use the actual nunchuck and integrate the Wii's motion controls just made playing it hilarious. Just to try and do moves that would help you out in a battle, it was just stupid. Honestly, it made way more sense to play with the GameCube controller, and it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked to admit to clue into that fact, but it made the game memorable, what can I say? Featuring over 100 playable characters in most versions and 135 in the Japanese and PAL Wii releases, while also bringing back every character from the previous game was a huge feat. The game introduced larger battle options and free battle, allowing matches with up to 10 characters who fight one at a time and can be switched in as teammates are defeated or swapped out. Most versions also included 16 large arenas, with the Japanese and PAL Wii versions adding a new space stage for a total of 17, along with 9 additional game modes. Unlike the first game, this entry added in battle transformations and fusions, letting players transform during combat or even start already transformed, and fusions could now be performed mid-match in certain modes without the usual time limit seen in the previous Budokai series. The game also included a character customizer, adjustable battle settings, and on Wii, a unique motion control scheme that let players mimic signature moves like the Kamehameha using the Wii remote and nunchuck, while still offering classic controller and GameCube controller support. Now, when you're in battle, getting to fuse midway was absolutely sick. Being able to just do the fusion dance or use the Patora earrings. Actually, you know what? Let me try the fusion dance right now. So it's cooler when they do it. That's okay. I'ma fuse one day. I'm a fuse! Or getting to use the Patora earrings, it was honestly sick. It made you feel even more immersed in this game than the previous one, and that's saying something because it was already feeling peak. But Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is a lot of people's favorites, and where some would say the franchise peaked in terms of that early trilogy. Also, being able to customize characters was a pretty insane concept in a good way. It made you feel like you're in fucking NBA 2K or some shit, getting to give your characters a stat boost just because you've been gaming all night, eating chips and pizza, just trying to advance the story mode or some shit. It's little additions like these that really stick out to players and fans of the franchise, where a lot of other fighter games have taken notes to date. Another nice addition to this is, unlike the first game where the story mode was mostly just text, going through the fights and reliving your highlight reel moments, in this game, you would actually go through the sagas and have free reign on the map. You could actually just fly out, overlook the city, and it would actually be very cool because you would feel like you were actually living part of the show that you used to watch. It wasn't just the beat 'em up, read some text on the screen, and then, oh cool, we have Raditz, oh cool, we have so-and-so. Nah, bump that. We actually got to go around the map. You could be Piccolo and be flying through the air, looking over everything. Goku, it just totally depended on what part you were at in the story, and those things were really appealing. That main single player experience is Dragon Adventure, a mode inspired by Budokai 3's Dragon Universe, where players travel across places like Earth and Namek searching for Dragon Balls, skill capsules, and enemies while reliving stories from Dragon Ball Z, GT, numerous movies, and TV specials such as Bardock, the father of Goku, and the history of Trunks. The mode is especially notable because battle outcomes can actually change the direction of the story, unlocking new abilities, characters, and original what-if scenarios as well. Beyond that, the game includes Ultimate Battle Z, a challenge mode built around themed battle towers that reward players with scores, items, and new pillars as they move along. Dragon Tournament, where players compete in tournament brackets, including the cell games for Z items, and Dragon Library, an in-game encyclopedia featuring character biographies, models, story history, and a sound test menu, giving the game a strong mix of action, replay value, and fan service. I remember running through the tournaments like it was my day job, and honestly, that was one of the most memorable parts of the game. Also, being able to go in and actually do sound tests with the characters was pretty cool too. It just added an extra layer of the game that really made it stick out in my mind and kept me coming back, even if it wasn't to play the story mode or to battle with my friends, but to actually just enjoy some of the extra perks in the game. There was also CPU versus CPU battles, which is pretty hilarious, and I don't know why anybody would be doing that. However, I actually a couple years ago hosted a Dragon Ball Z tournament where I was an announcer. A long story, but anyways, I got invited to that on Discord, and then I got to announce with some other people, and people were placing bets on the CPUs. It was honestly pretty fun now that I'm thinking back to it, and it was not something that I was expecting that kind of came out of left field. But for moments like that, where people are being creative and thinking outside the box, I'm sure you could place bets or just chill with your friends and have a good laugh, putting up random characters against each other that have no business fighting, like Krillin versus Perfect Cell. Come on, you're gonna laugh. And speaking of the playable characters, there was a shit ton. Budokai Tenkaichi 2 massively expanded the roster from the first game by bringing back every previous fighter while also adding new characters, new forms, and extra transformations for returning characters, making the lineup feel far more complete across DBZ, GT, and the movies. Some returning characters gain important new forms like Gogeta getting Super Saiyan 4, Baby Vegeta gaining a base form, and Super Baby 1, plus the Golden Grade 8 form. Now, I don't know about y'all, but the Golden Grade 8 form was one of my favorite forms in the show, but also in the video game. That form was absolutely epic, and when Baby was walking around with his fucking chest shield or visor, vest, whatever the fuck the Saiyans wore, the Saiyan armor, and had the grade 8 golden form, that shit was absolutely epic. And also when Goku transformed into golden grade 8 in the show, and eventually that led to his Super Saiyan 4 transformation as well, those are peak things that stick out to me. So the fact that they went through the time to add these into the game, it just made it more special. There were also several Saiyans such as Bardock, Nappa, and Raditz receiving grade 8 forms. And brand new additional characters were also included, like Pan, Tapion, Hirudegon, Turles, Slug, Oob, Sin Shenron, Supreme Kai, Garlic Jr., Metacooler, and more. with a few extra fighters exclusive to the Japanese and PAL Wii versions. Of all the new additions that were not previous in the game, some of my favorites were Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Baby Vegeta, and yo, speaking of Tapion, bro was absolutely hard. This man, I don't know, maybe I was the only one, but back in the day, I remember typing up and going on YouTube and typing in and watching AMVs. There was this song. If any one of you can tell me what the song was called, I would greatly appreciate it. I deadass have been trying to search for it for like 2 years and I can't find it. It's something like, it ends tonight, it ends tonight. I don't even know, it's doing some shit. That's like what the lyrics are or something like that. But either way, in any case, I would watch these AMVs, would have Tapion playing his fucking flute or ocarina, whatever the hell you want to call it. And dog, that was one of the most introspective and saddest character arcs in a movie, and one of my personal favorite characters in the whole Dragon Ball franchise. And it's wild to me that they were able to fit all of this in, but then continue to even improve upon it in the next game, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Now this, for me personally, was the peak of the franchise. I know I said some of y'all felt like the second game was the best, but to me, that green cover, playing it on the Nintendo Wii, all the different stages and stadiums, breaking down the stadiums, bruh, you can't compete with the third game. Shit was perfect. Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was released in Japan as Dragon Ball Z Sparking Meteor and was the third entry in the series, launched on PlayStation 2 and Wii in late 2007 and in early 2008 across different regions. Building on the scale of the earlier games, it features over 90 characters across 161 different forms, giving it the largest roster ever seen in a fighting game at the time, while also covering Dragon Ball Z, GT, the movies, and even crossover related characters from Dr. Slump, like a rail. The game introduced several major features, including battle replay, day and night stages that enabled certain transformations to happen, Wii exclusive online multiplayer with global rankings, and the PS2's Disc Fusion system, which unlocked extra modes using previous games. It also refined the combat with more combo options, blast combos, and the fast evasive Z-Burst dash, making it a bigger, faster, and more feature-packed evolution of the previous Budokai Tenkaichi formula. Now, the Wii's online multiplayer was absolutely dog shit. Okay, let's just call a turd a turd. Let's not, you know, the saying, I think it goes like, you can't polish a turd or some shit like that. Dead ass, in this case, you couldn't. The shit was trash. However, that game is still my baby. I still love it. I would still play it to this day if I still had my Wii. I think I gave it to a family member and I never got it back. That's okay. We move past it. We move on. The game introduced battle replay, letting players save memorable fights, as well as day, night, dawn, and afternoon stage variations, which made story battles feel more authentic, and even allowed transformations like the Great Ape under the moon. The Wii version became the first in the series to offer online multiplayer with global rankings, and while the PS2 version countered with Disc Fusion, which unlocked extra modes by reading data from the previous games, both versions were still cool. Combat was also refined with more combo variety, blast combos, and the Z-Burst dash, while details like customizable auras, more accurate battle damage, and selective armor break effects made fights feel even closer to the anime and manga. The gameplay in this game was massive. You'd be able to do the sonic sway and just be dodging and and moving all around like that with all the sound effects. It was sick. It really just locked you into the fighting and made you focus that much harder on what your opponent was doing and try not to get your butt kicked. The rush key wave was also sick because you would be able to trick off massive finishing combos and absolutely try and obliterate your opponent. And even if they tried to get away, you'd be able to do the Z-Burst dash to get your get back and just boom, pummel your opponent even quicker. Y'all can't escape. And let's keep it a buck. If you saw this, you would be shitting your pants. Do you see this? The day and night system that they implemented. So now if I pick a fucking Saiyan, I just turn Great Ape in the middle of a fight when it goes to nighttime. Bruh, if you're seeing this ape compared to how big the other people are on the screen, AKA tiny ass ants, bro, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with that guy. Yo, and the armor being able to break off and you're also being able to just decimate certain parts of the stages too, it made matches way more intense. Like, look at this. Do you see this right here? Like, bro, The stage is absolutely blown to smithereens. Buddy is over here just bleeding and his suit being broke off. Like, this shit was peak. And that was just the start of the game modes. There were a wide variety of game modes that made it feel like a full Dragon Ball package rather than just another fighting game. Its main story mode, Dragon History, covered the major sagas from Dragon Ball Z, GT, the movies, and brought back the what if scenarios, while Ultimate Battle adds challenge-based modes like Sim Dragon, like Mission 100 and Survival, and the competitive play is expanded through the Dragon World Tour, which includes several tournament formats such as the World Tournament, Cell Games, and the Other World Tournament, which was one of my favorites, as well as the quirky Yamcha game, where everything is just randomized. Outside of battle, players can enjoy standard duel mode like single, team, and DP battle, and also the Wii exclusive Dragon Net battle for that poopy online play, and a full set of progression and customization features through that Evolution Z, and training modes, replay tools, the fighter catalog, character reference, item management, and other options, even Shenron giving the game an impressive amount of content and replay value. Now, for the playable characters, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 expanded the roster even further by bringing back nearly every fighter and form from the earlier games, while also adding a fresh wave of characters from across the universe, including newcomers like Future Gohan, King Cold, King Vegeta, 8, Arale, Nail, Dr. Wheelo, and even more. It also introduced new versions of existing characters, such as the early and mid versions of Goku, as well as the early version of Piccolo. Now, one of the things that surprised me the most was, why the hell did it take so long to get King Vegeta in this game? Or Future Gohan? That was surprising. But overall, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi was one of the best fighting game anime franchises, or just fighters in general of all time. Let's be serious. We know there's some other games out there, but it ain't as hype as Dragon Ball. With that being said, thanks for watching the channel. Key blast subscribe, kick the bell icon, and if you want to be a little extra saucy with it, then don't forget to join the membership that's open now. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and we're gonna keep it going. 35K subscribers now. Goal is to get to 50,000 by the end of the year. With that being said, thanks so much, and until next time, peace.